the ghost stories because you'll experience your own.
I don't like it.
Trust me. I don't know if she's gonna tell you all the stories about working here at night.
Most of you probably know, but boarding houses in the 1900s didn't really cohabitate, and so all of the women, if they wanted to meet, would be in the front of the boarding house. This was an all men's boarding house, originally called the Ash Apartments, and this is actually the original door and the original madam, of which we hear often, and I'll tell you more stories.
Very spooky right there.
This is an original picture dated back to this building. So this was the old bath house with a sink, and there was an original bathtub in there. Toilet, super exciting.
No, it's convenient, there's an all-metal boarding house. Just down
You
from the
walk
office.
through here, wow, so convenient.
Yes. And there again, there's still over
Original
at the back.
storage over there. So these apartments actually used to go all the way across the row of the buildings. And you can see it as this. Yeah, so if you look over here, behind these doors and all this stuff, it's actually cinder blocked shut right here. And then right here is actually cinder blocked shut there as well.
Yes.
So that's why if you look on the doors, it's number 13.
The
There were
old-
ways that
That'd be awesome.
Well, and that, Jeff had told us that they have seen shadows that walk clear across all these.
Well, and that makes sense because they were also connected, and you can see like there was the doorway that was
Into the next one.
and then we've got, so if you guys want to walk through here, there's more rooms. This would be a single tenant room. And if you look at most of the floors, other than these two rooms, you can see the original flooring. Oh, look how gorgeous that molding is. And there's 4 different types of flooring that you can see, the wood and 3 different types of vinyl. So crazy.
Was this not a skylight?
I believe it was, and I'll get more information on that, but it
Well-
was used to heat and cool the building.
The only reason I'm
And
saying that is because they're at the back.
Yeah, and
so
I think they were. Because originally there was no electricity up here up until the 70s.
So this will be your lights. This is a fire trap.
Yeah,
No windows.
yeah.
So you're just gonna die in here.
So, if you want to hear our ghost
All right, let's hear
stories-
the ghost story in here.
Oh, I'm just trying to my light out.
So, my hunch is the store itself was owned by a bunch of men. You know, it was bought and sold by a man in 1907, and then it was after that, even after the fire, it was owned by various men up until the 70s when it was a gift store. And I'm assuming she came along, she was the madam of the house, and she's kind of angry at all of the men that, you know, dishonor her. And I tell you this because you hear doors slamming, you see things fly off the wall, and we personally have witnessed it. It's not just,
like even a month ago, we had.
not even 2 weeks ago, we saw stuff that has been sitting there for over 20 years that we've used, and it flies off the wall. But then other helpful things happen too, where I'll be missing something for weeks and it'll appear. And I think her tune is kind of changing. We've come up here, we've cleaned. You know, she's kind of almost becoming more helpful in a way. in my opinion. I also believe that because we're women, we own the flower shop. She's here for it. She's okay with us. I'm letting her know that, you know, we're good people.
So you'll have to tell them about just when we were working, 2 months ago, we were late working on a funeral actually. And
Yeah,
just what
as if
happened.
that's not creepy enough to work, you know, on a funeral.
And it's like 10 o'clock at night, right?
So
9 o'clock.
it's Leslie and I and another lady we work with, we're just chit-chatting away, and then we hear this big slam. And I don't know if it was something dropping on the floor, one of the doors being slammed, I don't know what it was. But, of course, Leslie, being the brave one that I was, comes upstairs.
With her floral scissors.
Well,
'cause
yeah.
she's-
I'm like, okay, cool. And then the other lady takes off back, no one out back, nothing out of place. She comes up here, doesn't see anyone, nothing's out of place at all. That's happened when you're downstairs late at night, you can hear people walking upstairs. I'm telling you, if you stay here long enough, your own story will happen.
I just wanted to say, and I don't care if you use this as part of the stories, but when, so I've had the shop for a little over 9 years. Tyler and Esther bought into it a little over a year ago, right? And I had told them, I'm like, oh yeah, when we first bought this, I wouldn't work here alone at night. I used to make my husband come and he would just get on the computer and grade papers or do whatever he had to do while I was doing book work or taxes or whatever I was doing. And I'm pretty strong that way. I mean, like, I don't really believe in that stuff, but it was so bad I wouldn't even work here alone at night. And I'm telling her, and then I got better, and so it was okay, then I would come a little bit later, but even now, I don't like to be here alone at night. So anyway, Esther is like, yeah, whatever. So they buy it, and it was probably within the first 2 months she was here at night. And at that time too, in the winter, you know, it can get dark at like 5:30, so it doesn't even have to really be late. But she was here, and she called me up, and she's like, there's somebody upstairs, I'm not alone, I'm leaving. Somebody has to come check it out, and I'm like, okay, I'll come down there. And she's like, no, like Tyler or Dawn.
Yeah, goodbye.
Yeah, but
Still in the
so-
shop.
Well, don't call the cops.
I know, I'm like, why wouldn't
Jeff's out.
But just, it truly is, I mean, you'll be downstairs working or doing whatever, or even in my office, which we'll pass on the way out, which we probably won't take people in there, so that's not scary, but you literally, even if I'm upstairs just working in my office, which is just around that wall, you'll hear this all the time.
Well, and the other thing is too, is that we've heard these things and we've tried mimicking
Minus
it.
the dirt.
So someone would have to be stomping up here for you to hear it downstairs. Like if even us just pitter pattering around up here, you can't hear it downstairs without you actually stomping on it, on the ground.
Well, we've even even when we were cleaning last week, you could kind of hear somebody walking, and then we could see like dust particles coming down through the roof.
Oh yeah, last week our
Not
coworker
even
Gina,
joking. Like,
she's on the phone, and so the chimneys, you know, they run all the way to the ground, and you can still see them downstairs. And there was a pipe there and a hollow opening, and all of a sudden you hear a crash and you see all the particles on the ground. And she's like, "Did you see that?" And we're like, "Yes." And she said, "That wasn't there before."
So we came right up
So-
here, nothing.
So really, yeah,
That's awesome. I
yeah,
like the theory, that's great.
that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Making friends with